Yes, people, welcome back to the Ratcave. It's Ratzi here as usual, but I'm joined today by Rob Dean from Akai. Welcome to the Ratcave, mate. Yeah, all good, all good. Welcome. I think this is your first time here.
It is, yeah. I've heard great things about the Ratcave, though.
Well, yeah, you might be one of the few, mate. But yeah, welcome anyway, pal. So, Rob, you're here today, flying the Akai flag, basically to tell everyone about the new updates going on with the MPC and the Force.
That's it.
Yeah. So, right, mate. Let's get straight into it. Yeah, I'm excited to hear all of like what's going on. So yeah, let's hop straight in.
Cool. All right. So basically, what we're looking at today is a brand new update for Force and MPC range. So that's MPC Live and X.
Yep.
And this update will bring Ableton integration. So what do you think that means?
So Ableton, like before, when I shot the video on the Force, with Matt Ray, big up Matt Ray. Yeah, you know, he was kind of talking about like exporting the projects into Ableton and stuff like that. But so this is more actual hands-on with Ableton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you've ever used Force or looked at Force, you see there's a very big resemblance to the clips inside of Ableton. And that's kind of how it works. It's a clip-based workflow. So you're there triggering sounds and clips and then working your projects around that. But what this allows us to do now is control your Ableton session remotely. As you can see here, there's no cables other than these here, which are all for recording purposes.
Yeah. So these cables are into the mixer, so you know when we play the sounds, you guys can hear them on the video or whatever.
That's it. And so now we can actually control that wirelessly. I'll go into a few reasons as to why in a minute. But the other thing here with MPC is you have the option to use clips within MPC, which is one thing, which is more of a side section so you can do loops, but it's not set up in the same way as Ableton. But what this allows us to do with the MPC update is control Ableton as well in the same fashion.
Nice.
Which is a nice little twist for the MPC users, especially if you've got the battery-powered version and the X. It's a really good feature to look into. So, the reasons you'd use this, I'll give you a couple. So the first, which I've found really useful, is in a live environment. So if I have got my laptop with my backing tracks on there, click tracks, lighting cues, all that stuff, which Ableton does really well, I really need to have that in my performance. But I don't want to put that on stage. I want to make it secure in a safe location. What I can actually do is put my laptop at the back with the sound engineer, locked up, nice and safe, and then I can control it wirelessly with Force or MPC.
Yeah. See, that's really nice because, you know, the same kind of thing is I've seen a lot with on the DJ side of things with controllers and stuff. You get more stuff on the actual controllers these days to keep you away from having to have your head in your laptop.
Exactly.
And it adds more to your performance. You're more in touch with the crowd and what you're doing rather than...
It becomes a full instrument. You know? And there's
rather
there's
than
no
looking like you're checking your emails.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So obviously that's the setup, which I think is really valuable. And the great thing about that is you're not compromising the Force power in regards to what you can do with Force. So I can flip back and forth. It's like having two brains. So I can have my backing tracks, I can trigger stuff, jump back into Force, and that becomes like your sound module. So I can have all my samples there to trigger in real time. I can sync things up with Ableton Link as well, which means that I can make clips inside of Force and it runs perfectly in time. Same with the MPC.
Nice, mate. Hand in hand.
Yeah, so it's a perfect ecosystem, really.
Yeah.
And the second thing which MPC would be very good at as well is in the studio environment, because you can control session view and you can also control the arrangement view with the transport controls. So if I had a wall of synths and my laptop was on the other side of the room, I can sync it up.
If you had a wall of synths, you'd be a very lucky man.
I'd be a very lucky man. Yeah, unfortunately, that isn't me. But that's how you would use it. Is that you'd have it set up and you just record straight away. Which is great. It's a time saver and it's a convenience thing, really.
It is. Well, it is, and especially in a studio environment when, you know, odds are you're going to be playing something and then, I don't like that, play it again. You don't, you know, getting up and having to walk across.
Exactly.
You know, you want to be sat in your creative bubble.
That's it.
It's easy as possible.
You haven't got to think about it. Just get on with it.
That's exactly.
So this is all it's about. It's making things easier and a little bit more hands-on, which I think if you're an Ableton user, you have options with controllers, but it's tethered. This is giving you lots of freedom for controlling your sounds and then combining them with what you've got in terms of hardware options with MPC and Force.
Nice, yeah.
So let's get into the setup. Really easy setup. What you would need for this is a couple of things. So obviously a laptop running Ableton Live. And this is worth mentioning that Ableton Live has to be on 10 or above.
Okay, so you have to be running the latest Ableton Live, which at the point of this video is 10. Unfortunately, so anything under 10, 9 or 8 or whatever isn't going to work with this update.
Exactly.
It does work with the Force and the MPC.
Yeah, in regards to if you want to bounce out material, yes, you can definitely do that, because on the previous versions you can export into it. But the wireless technology is based on 10 and above. Reason being, there's MIDI scripts, and they're installed into that version. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so obviously we've got the laptop there, and you need some sort of connection. And the way that you can do that is there's 3 different ways. What I'm using today is my phone, which is on a personal hotspot. So it's using my cellular data, and I've got it set up that my Force, MPC and laptop are on the same network. So it's all together.
Yeah.
If you haven't or you don't want to use your phone, you can tether it using an Ethernet cable, which does kind of take you away from that wireless thing.
Defeats the object of the wireless thing.
Exactly, that's just a option.
But, people might actually, prefer that because it runs any risk of disconnecting from the wireless or whatever. Absolutely. But you do need to be on an internet connection right? And so today we're using your phone, kind of maybe a bit more trustworthy than, say, in a live situation, in a live venue, trying to use the wireless internet or whatever. You don't know how many people are on it. And
absolutely.
That's it.
And the third thing is you can use an Ethernet to a router and populate your own wireless network off the back of that, which is a good way of doing it. Personally, I've found my phone has been pretty good, and I haven't had any issues for performances or demos from there.
Technology these days,
It's crazy. So we've got the ways of connecting. We've got the laptop set up. The last thing is a bit of software you need to install on your laptop, which is a network driver we've come up with, which is a free installation which you can get from the downloads page, along with the hardware firmware updates for these guys.
That's on the Akai website, yeah?
Really simple to update. There's tons of videos on how to do that. You just load it in and update from there. And if you go to the screen here, you'll see that it's installed. And what we do, once it's connected, you'll see there's available devices. And you can see I've got the Force and the MPC both available because they're on the same network and they have the same IP address. And you can see that. For this, I'm going to choose Force. And that is it. I'm already loaded into Ableton. My session's open, and you can see you've got the red box indicating there's a control surface available.
So you've just selected the Force because we have the MPC connected into the Force, and the Force.
That's it.
That's what we want.
So we're going to use Ableton control with Force.
Is it possible to have them both connected at the same time?
Not at the minute, because the driver is looking at one thing.
Right, I see.
And I've tried this a few times, and if you do choose MPC whilst you've opened up a project with Force connected, it doesn't know where to go. So you have to make sure you refresh that project and choose MPC beforehand.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the setup, really. And the great thing about it is once it's installed, it's done. You haven't got to worry about it. The one thing I would mention is if you go into the preferences of Ableton, you can see on the MIDI pane, it will see there's an Akai Force MPC control surface. And just make sure that the input is set to door control on the output as well. And then just set it to remote, and that's it. And that will save that as well. So next time you open a project and it sees there's a connection, it will open.
It will remember, so you don't have to do it again.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So we are set up now. We're good to go.
Awesome.
So what I'm going to do on Force is just jump to menu, and you see live control. And that is all I do. And now you can see exactly the same colors, exactly the same arrangement of clips on session view inside of my Force.
Perfect, yeah.
Which is great. And the thing which people have always asked is there a latency? And from my experience in doing this, it is very minimal.
Okay.
So to the point when I'm pressing a clip, it will wait for the bar, and it will come in on time with everything else which is playing, which is the idea. It's supposed to be seamless. So if we look at this now, and I start launching some clips.
I was going to say, give us an example, man. Prove your point, man.
So if we just start with this sample here, you can see instant feedback on there. And I can start jumping through my clips. And if you look at the screen, we'll try and get a splice next to it so you can see what's going on both sides. I can jump and add other clips. Some drums. And I can add some MIDI information as well. I can control scenes. Press down the sides of the scenes. I can also control levels as well. So if I jump to here, you can see I've got a full mixer as well, which is really good for live mixing. So if you wanted to use Ableton for DJing, this is another thing. A lot of APC users.
Yeah, DJ. That's it, mate. Yeah, it happens.
That's how they work with it. And you can do it on here as well. So you can control levels with multiple touches as well. You can use the main pane here to actually arm, solo, and mute stuff.
So when you're touchscreening it there,
absolutely. And if you try it again and look at the screen, you'll see how responsive it is as well.
Yeah.
So you can see how it's going back and up and down.
Yeah.
This is really cool for arming stuff. So if I've got multiple things plugged into my session,
of course,
I can say, right, I want to arm that synth, and then go from there. And then on the sends as well, so I can have tons of different sends and returns set up for effects, live effects.
Yeah.
And with these encoders here, I can press knobs, and that will then map to the encoders on the screen.
Yeah.
So you can control all of that. That's the second thing. The thing which I think is really interesting with this is that you actually have device control as well, which takes it that one step further. So you can do sound design wirelessly. So for here, I've got a device set up, and if I jump through my channels, you can see I've got compressor.
Yeah.
And then same thing with the knobs. If I press that once, you can see the encoders are mapped directly to it. So if I start using that, and if you look at the display, you can see the threshold.
Yeah, of course.
And if you try that, you see it's really, really responsive.
Oh, that was a bad example. Yeah, yeah. So the threshold. Yeah,
so
mate.
You can see how
it's bang on, and it's all wireless. This is
exactly.
It's really responsive. I'm really impressed.
Which I think is really important for people to know is there isn't going to be an issue. And obviously, when you've got a USB connection, there's never any latency. It's as good as, if not better.
Yep.
In the way that it works. So obviously, we've just triggered some sounds there. If I was going to use it in a studio environment, like we said, with the synths and stuff like that, or using the transport, you simply just press this icon at the top, and you can see I can turn session to arrangement. So now it's in arrangement view. So what we do now is just jump back into Force and make sure you've got this little button record armed, and then we just press Eclipse. Everything is recorded in session in real time.
Yeah, all the separate tracks.
Exactly, all recorded separately. Yeah. So this is great for pre-recorded material, but even if you're recording with a live environment, same thing applies. You can just set it up and say, right, well, I'm recording now. I've got my interface set up, and it records in like it would. So it's just transport control, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a real quick demonstration of what is new. If we look at MPC, I'll give you an idea of what it looks like in that realm.
Yeah, cool.
It works identically, it just has a different layout.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So here you can see on the MPC, if I go back to the menu, I have a live control window. Easy as that. It looks exactly the same as it did on Force.
Yeah, it does, but so would then you have to change the thing that you did at the start, the driver, was it?
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we've just done, just swapped it over.
Yeah.
And now what we can do is the same things. It's just laid out a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because obviously you haven't got as many pads, so you have to make use of the 16 that you've got.
Yep.
So you can use these buttons up here to go up and down, and you can use left and right. So you can still navigate a full project, and you can even launch scenes. You can press these buttons up here and launch them from 16 level, and press that to launch a scene. So let's go from there. You can still mix on here as well.
Yeah, and that still reacts to the same. So it is exactly the same as what you've just gone through on the Force, but just a different, obviously different instrument, different layout, different screen.
Exactly.
Well, not even a different layout really, just a little bit shrunk, a little bit smaller.
Yeah, it's just made more compact. And for the MPCX users, same thing again. You've just got it laid out on the larger screen. Same setup as well. What is great with these is you've got the Ableton link, it's all paired up already. So if I make sure the laptop is on link as well, what I can do is introduce sections from MPC or Force, like we said. So how's your finger drumming, Ratzi?
Yeah, I could give it a go, mate.
Should we try it? Let's try it.
Let's do it.
So you can see we're synced at 150, which is the project. And what I want to do is go into live control, and let's kill some of these channels. Let's just get the sample. So let's just turn all these off. And if we press play, let's get rid of that. So now we've got that real lush pad sound.
Yeah.
When you put some killer drums in it, right?
Right, okay. I'll give it a go. Tell me which ones my drums are on.
So you've got your kick.
Yeah.
Hi-hats.
Right. Okay.
So when you get a rhythm you like, you can press record. So if we stop it, and we go back to here and we say, right, let's stop that for a sec, make sure we're in the right BPM, which we are, and then we just trigger that again. start to record on here, it will wait and then bring you in. So
Okay,
if you want to record now, it's ready to go.
All right, let's try not to be too clever about this. That was horrific. But yeah, get the right kind of idea. I think I was well out on the BPM, to be honest. I couldn't hear the click track. It was all wrong. Couldn't hear the monitors. Right, considering that I just absolutely butchered that, mate. Maybe you should give
I'll give it a go and I'll show you what we can do with it.
Yeah, all right.
So let's use the sample from here. So if we just trigger it, and we're obviously linked up, and I press record, I've got the click drum.
Yeah. So that's what I couldn't hear before.
Yeah. Sure. Double it up. Start building on top of it. You can use some of the plugins as well. So if you've got your keyboard plugged in, you can jump on top of that.
Yeah.
But just to show you really quickly how you can sync stuff up and then start to control it in one well, which is the whole idea, is combining everything. We're not pushing things away, it's about combining them into one area.
Yeah, and it's really obviously hands-on.
Yeah, exactly. And then I can just chuck other stuff on top of it. So we've got... and then you've got the rest coming from Ableton.
Yeah, and actually sort of triggering them live off like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is there a way as well to sequence it like you had it before in the live?
So what we're using MPC directly into Ableton wirelessly. Sequencing is not, no.
Okay.
At the minute, the reason being is just you've got so much control on the transport and the launching side of things.
Yep.
You can't program drums wirelessly. Not yet.
Not on the MPC. Not yet. Not yet, he says.
Not yet.
There you go.
That's not an official thing. That's
Right,
that's as far as I know. And what will happen is that you can still connect it via USB with the MPC and using the MPC software and still use it that way.
Just not over the wires.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
The way you can do it as separately is obviously, as we said, with the Ableton export. With these, you can actually export the project into it, and that means you can open it up as if it was made in Ableton. So you kind of go back and forth. So you create on here, you can bring it into Ableton, and then trigger it without bringing it back and forth. That sort of thing.
But then you can almost play what you've already got, and then finger drum and test your bits,
exactly.
and then go, I like the sound of that, and then input it or export it or whatever. So
what I've been really fascinated with this is obviously the control aspect for live stuff. So as I said at the start, using this as the hub that goes over there, you don't think about it, it's part of this.
Yeah.
But another feature we've got on these is the resampling capabilities on both devices, which you may or may not have heard of, but it basically allows you to sample anything like a keyboard or an external MIDI controller or something like MIDI instrument, and saves a copy of it. So that really means that I could have a synth wall, like I said, if I was lucky to have a synth wall, could sample all of those onto the hardware, and this becomes a real heavy-duty sound module with all my synths from home, but not having to bring all of them with me.
Yeah.
So this is another world. So you've got your session at the back, but have the same sounds from the studio.
Yeah.
Control it. Exactly that.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's the update. It's pretty full on, but it's something you got to try.
I think that's a really great thing. I do. Particularly, like we said, I don't want to say the lazy people that don't want to get up in the studio, but I would say that would benefit especially the people that are using this in a live.
I feel that's a really good use of it.
So you can have your laptop away and somewhere next to your sound engineer, who's arguably the most important person apart from yourself in a performance.
Yeah, exactly.
So really good update from Akai, man. Listen, thank you so much for coming in, man.
No worries, man.
Absolute pleasure. Guys, any questions or any hate about my finger drumming, feel free to add them into the comments, and I will get back to you. If I can't answer the question, I'll be in touch with my man Rob, and then I will get back to you about what he says. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time. Peace.